Hello, my name is Chelsea Davis. I have really enjoyed being a part of the Defining Client Needs class. Through this class, I've had some struggles in my family, and with those, I have been able to apply them to this class. My dad was hospitalized and passed recently, and through being at the hospital with him and seeing how all the different nurses and doctors work together, it showed me how important the client actually is. And at the time, my dad was the client of the hospital, and it was their main objective to make sure that he was taken care of. And so I was able to take all of that I was learning about the process in the hospital and being there for my father and seeing how important it was that his needs were met, that I was able to apply that here. Stretching beyond what the client asks is the first concept I want to discuss. In our first initial post in week 1, we discussed the Chase group. And I really enjoyed doing this post because it was able to teach me more about how making the client comfortable was a very important factor. And in that video that we watched with the Chase group, she spoke about how she was the one that would sell the company to the client. And she set forth a very comfortable atmosphere. And so this is why stretching beyond what the client wants is very important to me, because a client sometimes comes in and they're not really aware of what they want or what business aspect they should actually go towards. They have in their mind a goal, but it's our job to make that goal a reality. The industry setting is the second thing that I want to discuss. Before we began the project in week 2, I was not exactly sure what an industry setting was, but I learned that it's basically the industry in which that company belongs. For example, I did the Special Olympics, and in doing that project, I learned a lot about what the industry setting is and its purpose. The industry setting for the Special Olympics Australia was a global or not-for-profit organization. And with that being their setting, they were able to draw an emotional aspect towards their target audience to bring in more revenue for their fundraising. The last concept I will discuss is the different grouping of the different categories in each of the projects. It was very easy for me to do this by the way that it was displayed. In our discussion board for week 3, we learned how to use different categories for our project, such as client needs and the benefit for the clients and the ranking. And I chose to use this as part of my thesis, along with how we learned to categorize in the week before, such as mine was the Special Olympics of Australia. There were different categories that were already set up for us, so we just had to find the answers within each one. So for my thesis, I was able to use this as a brainstorming tool and a concept to just break everything into a different section, break it into questions, and it really made it a lot easier for me. The first sector that I chose was for home fitness programs. The second was for nonprofit organizations. And the third that I chose was for apparel. And each one of the sectors that I just shows you the ranking where each one is, except for the apparel. When I was doing the apparel, it seemed to be the hardest for me because I was a little confused as to which was actually an apparel company and which was just a seller. But I have the ranking on each one so all of you can see how they ranked in the websites that I found. The one that I chose to do my thesis on is for nonprofit organizations. It seemed to me that Girls Inc. showed a lower ranking than I expected it to, and so I wanted to do more research on that to see why that is and how I could help to bring their ranking up to a higher number. In looking at the different at-risk youth programs, I chose Big Brother Big Sister, Boys and Girls Club, Youth Build, and Girls Inc. I chose to do my thesis on Girls Inc. because it seemed that even though people know about it, there is not a lot of awareness to it. And in doing this project, I plan to bring more awareness to it socially, visually, and I want to help rebrand them by giving them a lasting promise. In doing the Special Olympics for Australia, their promise was to reach your personal best. And I want to bring a promise to gear the target audience more towards Girls Inc. so they can know exactly what the program promises for the people. In closing, I have really enjoyed working with each and every one of you, and I'm excited about the next classes in the future, and I hope that all of you have a great reflection, and good luck on the next class.